Welcome to the Movie Remix, the show about classic movies and their modern remakes. Hello, I'm Constance.
Hey everybody, I am Sherry. In the movie Remix, we discuss character changes, plot updates, and our thoughts on how well the remake was made. We're recording on Valentine's Day 2021, so we decided to combine Valentine's Day and Black History Month into this month's choice of film. We are doing Guess Who's Coming to Dinner from 1967 with the update of Guess Who, which came out in 2005. Guess Who's Coming to Dinner is a 1967 American comedy drama film produced and directed by Stanley Kramer and written by William Rose. When Joanna Drayton, a free-thinking white woman, and Black doctor John Prentice become engaged, they traveled to San Francisco to meet her parents. Matt Drayton and his wife Christina are wealthy liberals who must confront the latent racism the coming marriage arouses. Also attending the Drayton's dinner are Prentice's parents, who are vehemently opposed to the relationship. The film stars Spencer Tracy as Matt Drayton, Cindy Poitier as Dr. John Wade Prentice, Katharine Hepburn as Christina Drayton, Catherine Houghton as Joanna Joey Drayton, who also happens to be Catherine's niece, so that's why they kind of look alike. Cecil Kellaway as Monsignor Mike Ryan, B. Richards as Mrs. Prentice, Roy E. Glenn as Mr. Prentice, and Isabella Sanford as Tilly.
And you would know her from
the Jeffersons. It's Weezy.
Sorry, go ahead.
It had to be said because I'm not going to lie. The first time I saw this film years ago, I was like, oh, Weezy. Like, it's just what happens.
Right.
The film was one of the few times at the time to depict an interracial marriage in a positive light, as interracial marriage historically had been illegal in most states of the United States. It was still illegal in 17 states, mostly Southern, until June 12, 1967, 6 months before the film was released. Roughly 2 weeks after Tracy filmed his final scenes, and anti-miscegenation laws were struck down by the Supreme Court in Loving versus Virginia. The film is also notable for being the 9th and final on-screen pairing of lovebirds Tracy and Hepburn, with filming ending just 17 days before Tracy's death. Hepburn never saw the final completed film, saying the memories of Tracy were too painful. The film was released in December 1967, 6 months after his death. And I'm going to pin in here real quick as well. I want to thank the podcast Unspooled, which I just listened to their episode about this film, and they did a lot of film history for me on this, so I really appreciate it. There are some scenes that you see Tracy, like maybe from the back or like kind of off in the distance. That might not have actually been him. He was actually extremely sick when this was filmed.
Wow.
Yeah. Again, he died 17 days after they wrapped. And according to what Unspooled researched, like I said, I'm not going to steal their research. I'm going to recount what they said. They actually had 2 scripts. They had one script in case he passed away during filming. And they filmed all of his work in the morning. And finally, films require insurance on the actors, I guess, in case something happens. I don't understand this rule. They could not get him insured because he was so in ill health. And Catherine ended up putting up her salary. Like, they put their salaries up and said, okay, that's the insurance, so that they could get this film made, because she wanted to work with him one last time.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to put that out there, since we're recording on Valentine's Day, and that's such a loving story.
Quick digression, which would also probably explains why it was so easy for her to tear up at every given God moment in that film.
Yes.
But
yeah, because he, like I said, again, he passes away 17 days later, and we will discuss more about, but again, I'm happy that they made this film. And there's also everyone, please go listen to that podcast. It's about an hour and a half. I will link it in the bio. They give such great information about this film, including the fact that Cindy Poitier had such great respect for Hepburn and Tracy that he was like, oh my God, I'm getting ready to do this film with them. And he was like kind of afraid to go into it, like not afraid, but like a little nervous. So it was really interesting backstories into that film. So yes, Unspooled podcast from December. Okay.
So the remake of this film is Guess Who, which came out in 2005, and it's an American comedy that was directed by Kevin Rodney Sullivan. This film, instead of focusing on a white woman marrying a Black man, it's the reverse. It's a Black woman marrying a white man, and she brings him home to meet her folks. The film stars are Bernie Mac as Percy Jones, Judith Scott as Marilyn Jones, Zoe Saldana as Teresa Jones, Ashton Kutcher as Simon Green, Kelly Stewart as Keisha Jones. It was a very interesting reversal, shall we say.
It was if you want to hear our take on the remake, there's always part 2. Come back in part 2. Come back in part 2.
You want to come back in part 2.
You want to come back in part 2. 1967 film, just some more background information on what's happened since its release so many years ago. In 1998, the film was ranked 99th on 100 movies list by the American Film Institute. It was not on the most latest list, which is from 2007. In 2017, the film was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. The film's Oscar-nominated score was produced by Frank D. Volve. The whole score, it was the one song. The film in the U.S. gave. Sorry, I gotta come back.
The whole score was the one song.
It was really only the one song. Like the voice.
Okay, Snarky McGee.
Okay, wait a second. 3, 2, 1. The release of the film in the United States gave Poitier his third box office success in 6 months in 1967, all of which placed the race of Poitier's character as issue. One of the other films that year was In the Heat of the Night. The gross of this film totaled $56 million for 1967. The film was first shown on United States television on CBS on September 19th, 1971, and was the highest rated film broadcast of that year. This film was nominated and awarded for everything. I just want to say that up front. It won Best Actress for Katharine Hepburn, Best Story for William Rose, at the Academy Awards, at the BAFTAs, the British Awards. Spencer Tracy for his leading role, Katharine Hepburn for her leading role in this film, the United Nations Award for Stanley Kramer, Best Foreign Film Production as it went over the United States. This is an amazing, this film is very well loved. I'll say it that way.
Yes. It won a lot of awards.
It won all the awards and was nominated for more awards that are not listed here in my list.
Yes, because that list was extensive.
Yes.
In 2000, for the 2005 Guess Who, according to Box Office Mojo, the film earned $68,915,888 domestically and another $32,950,142 internationally, which gives the film a total gross of $101,866,030 worldwide, or $30 worldwide. Guess Who unfortunately received mixed reviews. Rotten Tomatoes gives the film a rating of 42% based on 151 reviews with an average rating of 5.41 out of 10. The site consensus reads, despite the chemistry of its stars, Guess Who, a loose remake of Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, lacks the political relevance of the original. USA Today said of the film, a succession of tired race jokes made worse by the bad comedic timing of the bland, under-talented Ashton Kutcher. Ashton didn't deserve that.
He didn't.
The Wall Street Journal states, Guess Who is impurely and simply a comic premise borrowed, turned around, and dumbed down to the level of sketch or sub-sketch humor. And Rolling Stone said, guess what is almost bearable. Although Baltimore Sun was like, the movie's sweetness, wit, and charm go beyond its can't we all just get along premise. Thank you, Baltimore Sun, for being a little more positive than your...
Yeah, at least you give us something to work with here.
So, no, unfortunately, no. It didn't receive any awards or anything.
But it made a lot of money.
Right, it made a lot of money.
Okay, so we will be back. This is the end of part 1. In part 2, we're going to give you our reviews, tell us what we're drinking, give you our recast, and we will be, so see you in part 2. Bye.
Bye.